Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. The Marvel Tokon beta has came and it has went. And now, with it over, I figure let's compile just some thoughts and some talking points about the game. Where do I think the game is at right now? And overall, I think the game's in a pretty good spot. Biggest downside of the beta is it was only like a day and change, right? On a cosmic scale, we barely had any time to play. And there's a lot of things now reflecting upon the game. I realize now that I wish I could try out in game, and now I can't because the beta's gone. Just little things like, oh, this combo should work, this setup should work, that kind of stuff, right? And now we gotta wait like what, 3 to 6 months to try out the game again? It's gonna be a while, so we're gonna have to be stewing on that for a bit. But yeah, just a bunch of topics I want to talk about. One of them, I guess, is the perceived depth of the game, because one of the biggest things I was seeing out of the gate very early on, even though limited time event, but whatever, but I was seeing like, dumbed down for game for babies, like the usual thing you're going to see people talk about, because they're criticizing the gameplay footage they're seeing, like, well, it doesn't look that advanced because, well, buddy, nobody knows how to play the game. There's no training mode. We couldn't figure stuff out. Like myself, I mashed my way into figuring out everything I did in the middle of matches. I don't think we should be judging gameplay depth of a game for like its first time ever real appearance in people's hands, and nobody gets to actually practice beforehand. We're just flung into the meat grinder. Because even in this hyper limited time, like there's some tech here, like there's some stuff going on. Like take Storm for example. We know Storm can control the wind similar to Rachel Alucard from BlazBlue, and there's some interesting tech there and really see widely used. Like sure, manipulate projectiles, go further up or further down on combo routing, right? But how about introducing effectively mechanics that only exist for herself? Like she has, for lack of a better term, a King of Fighters short hop, where if you use the wind downwards right before you jump, it hurts her overall arc, which is good because that means you can jump much lower to the ground and do a jumping attack and overhead much lower to the ground faster than you normally ever could. So that means Storm has a very difficult to react to quick overhead jumping attack that leads into full combo. Like there's the universal overhead mechanic, sure, but that's the universal mechanic and that requires you dumping the assist green bar resource into it. This is just one wind stock, and then if you caught him sleeping, eat short hop and eat full combo afterwards. So that's very interesting. That's very, very interesting tech. And even more in like the realm of greasy, grimy mix-up, Storm's Wind lets her do more things you're not allowed to do in the game, like what happened right there. This game, like many other modern fighting games, do not let you take the corner. So you can't force left-right mix on them on top of them being cornered. But here with the wind, right as you're jumping, you can call the wind backwards to you, put the enemy ever so slightly out of the corner, and when you're jumping at them, now instead of just blocking high, they also have to block cross-up. So now, with Storm's mechanics, already out of the gate, she has King of Fighters short hop, she has a much more aggressive jump arc than everyone else in the game, and she can also force left-right mix on you in the corner, because she can force you out of the corner ever so slightly, right? So that's just Storm, that's just her. There's some stuff. Like Star-Lord has restands that completely remove your ability to attack, and you kind of just gotta guess what's coming next, like just true 50-50 coin flip effectively. That's rough. And Star-Lord particularly, he's got all sorts of swaggy combos and all that. Like, he's probably going to be the game's Dante, for lack of a better term. So, for people criticizing, an alleged lack of depth early on, like, based off of a single day of play with no training mode, like, I wouldn't be too worried. Like, we're plumbing the depths, we're figuring stuff out. We'll get there, This game's got some depth to it. We can't figure out everything in a single day. Some characters are easier, some characters are harder. Like Miss Marvel, admittedly, probably won't have the depth of a Star-Lord or a Storm. Sure, but she's like the aggressive baboon character. She's not meant to be 5-star difficulty, I don't think. Like, from my own stream example. Yeah, so Miss Marvel just go... Watch this. See? See, it works. Like full screen grab. That's combo on hit or plus on block and puts you right beside them if it connects. There's not a lot of room for technical nuance there. That's the gorilla move, which is perfectly fine because I didn't pick Miss Marvel because I was there to think too hard, to be honest with you. But yeah, even in this incredibly limited time beta, like the tech was already starting to show itself. So as far as like actual gameplay depth, I'm not too worried. We'll figure out some cool stuff. Now, to some other notes, not like bad, but just something I noticed a lot. On this particular beta, I did play on leverless, and that experience definitely made me feel like this game will probably be best played on pad. I did notice some people playing on leverless or on arcade stick had some trouble with the layout they were comfortable with. For me, for the most part, I was pretty okay with it. It didn't bug me that much. But I did notice the game is similar to Guilty Gear Strive, and on leverless only specifically. The game's a little strict on the Dragon Punch motions, you know, forward, down, forward motions. It's a bit more lenient than Strive in particular. But if you play leverless and you've played any amount of Street Fighter 6, you know Street Fighter 6 will allow any old slop to count as a Dragon Punch. And so, you know, going from some Street Fighter 6 recently to this, it definitely made me feel that, like, because I actually had to start thinking about entering my DP motions. So not terribly good or bad, I guess, but it was just one thing. Definitely noticeable that it's an Arc System Works game and not, say, a Capcom game. And once again, just given the layout, the moves, all that, I do think this game will probably be best overall enjoyed on pad. Like, obviously, do whatever works for you. But if you're just looking for, you know, advantage on anything, like, the whole system, the whole flow just seems to work great on pad, especially because, you know, if you want easy inputs, there is also easy inputs. Now, another thing is game flow. So game flow, the game is best 3 out of 5 rounds out of the gate, right? Not 2 out of 3, which is, you know, usually standard in a lot of games. Usually you see 3 out of 5 in like a 3D fighter, not a 2D fighter, especially not like an anime tag fighter. But so it's default 3 out of 5. And in a set, especially because sets are also, on top of the game being best 3 out of 5, sets in the beta anyways, are also first to 3 for winners, right? So if you have a close match, given that rounds are 3 out of 5 and the set itself is first to 3, games can take a good long while to complete. Now, granted, this is the beta, everything is subject to change, especially because it's just the arcade cabs. Who's to say whenever ranked is implemented when the game actually comes out, that ranked will stay first to 3 as well? Who knows? I don't know. But it just felt like you could be there for a hot minute. Nothing inherently good or bad right there, but just something I felt in particular. Like this particular set you're looking at here, right? This took 20 minutes to do because we were pretty back and forth and kept, you know, trading games. So yeah, that's a long time. And I know for some people that's a bonus. And hey, if it's a bonus to you, great. It's something I noticed. That said, though, to just head the arguments off at the table, for tournaments and pools, no, I don't feel like this is a 3 out of 5 game. If 3 out of 5, if it goes to the wire, can take 20 minutes or more, this probably should be a 2 out of 3 game to like top 16 or top 8. That's just me, though. Now, one thing to talk about this game does that's an unabashed victory out of the gate is the game will tell you if the opponent is on Wi-Fi or if their connection is wired immediately. There's no guessing. You will know as soon as you see the connection between the two players. This is something we have to kick, fight, and scream on seemingly with every single fighting game release, and then even then, you know, sometimes, a lot of time, we don't get it. So here we are, this is the beta, this isn't even launched, this is Arc System Works, and they just have it provided out of the gate. So that's actually lovely. I'm a big fan of that. I can save a lot of headaches. For fans of wireless, if you are unaware somehow, wireless is not the best way to play fighting games, and some people prefer not to play people who are wireless. And I know you're thinking, well, it's okay if I'm close to the router, and there's some science that might not be on your side on that one. Please buy a cable. They're cheap. You can get them a couple bucks on Amazon. Anyways, so the fact that you can just see that out of the gate before the game's even out, so that gives me high hopes that online infrastructure is a priority this time around for this launch. So big fan of that. And now just to talk some gameplay stuff. Hey, gameplay's good. Like, it's Arc System Works. They know what they're doing. They've been here before. The more I put time into this game, the more I see this game as effectively, you know, it's not 1-to-1, but this game is effectively Dragon Ball FighterZ 2. And sprinkle in some Guilty Gear Strive in there as well, right? But this game, it feels like an Arc System Works game. That's the biggest thing I can say. Like, you could have me play this game, not tell me who made it, And then after like 10 minutes, like, oh yeah, this definitely was an Arc System Works game. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing in my opinion. That's actually a very good thing. But you know, we got a lot of the basics, like, hey, we got light, medium, heavy, you chain your buttons. Everyone has a unique button that's effectively another special move. And like even combo systems, like if you go heavy in the air, it'll make sure to keep even height with you, like exactly like it does in Dragon Ball FighterZ. Versus if you go like medium heavy, jump medium heavy, you might, depending on height, drop the combo. But as long as you're basically doing the auto combo version of it, like hitting the same button twice, it'll always do its best to keep height with the opponent, which is exactly like how it works in Dragon Ball FighterZ. And you know, for easy use stuff, that's kind of pretty okay. Like for movement stuff, the game moves good, game's fast, everyone can run, almost everyone can air dash, like Miss Marvel in particular can't, but she also has a bionic arm with her unique trait where she can just stretch all over the place, so that sort of makes up for it. I expect just about everyone to be very mobile in this game, even like when we get to the big boys eventually, like Thing or Hulk or something, I expect them to run, double jump and all that. We're not going to have any really slow characters like, say, Potemkin in Guilty Gear Strive, at least I'm not anticipating as such. This doesn't feel like the kind of game we're going to have someone really slow. Like, you know, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Broly. Broly was gigantic. Cooler was gigantic. They're both incredibly mobile characters. I expect that to kind of be the through line for this game. Speed and mobility are good to go. Assists are a little different because like a lot of the best times to call assists, like say you're jumping, you can't get the assist that you necessarily signed up for on the team creation menu. So we have the very unique team building mechanic of your team positioning actually matters who gets what assist, right? So your second character has the long range projectile assist. The third character has the more defensive rising anti-air assist. And the fourth one is more unique. It's character to character and usually the strongest assist on the team. Like for Star-Lord, he gives you a capture state grenade that's very strong. Iron Man does the screen lockdown rockets. Captain America just defensively hunkers down with the shield. And if you try to hit him and, you know, trying to hit the enemy behind him, he'll smack you down, right? So like those are really, really strong. But, you know, if you are in the air, you just kind of get a generic shooting assist no matter what. So you can't abuse some of those stronger assists. If you're attacking the enemy, you get a genericized, I hit the enemy assist, but none of the special properties. It almost feels like they're kind of scared to let you have assists whenever you want, right? Like you can only have the team building assists in very specific situations on the ground and in neutral. Because like you can't even really be doing anything else to get those. If you are whiffing buttons, they don't come out. If you're hitting the enemy, you get the genericized strike assist. If you're in the air, you get the genericized kind of shooting assist. There's ways to abuse it a little bit, like as long as you have multiple assists to call. When you're attacking the enemy, you can call the enemy, say they're in a block string, you can call your assist, and then before they leave, do some sort of long move, then tag into them, and then that person you just tagged into, they count as neutral. They're not attacking. So then that second person now can call a neutral assist. So there'll probably be some greasy setups with that specifically in mind. But when you're just trying to apply generic pressure to the enemy, like you have to go through a whole rigmarole just to get one of your normal assists, right? Call the generic attack assist because you're forced into it, then tag into them, and then take that tagged in person to call another person. Once again, not necessarily bad. It certainly adds depth to the game at the very least, right? Because, you know, that's a little bit more complex. But it just makes you feel like they're scared of certain assists being too powerful and they're doing everything they can to limit you calling the quote-unquote good assists. But with all that said, just on the gameplay stuff, like the one thing I really want to hammer home, I did mention this in the last video, this is assuredly not Marvel vs. Capcom in terms of gameplay. This is an Arc System Works game. I know some people, because it is a Marvel license, they want this to be the next Marvel vs. Capcom, and it is only that on the most superficial levels. For anything you like about Marvel vs. Capcom other than playing Marvel characters and having the Marvel license to work with, this game just isn't that. Yes, this is a tag-based fighter. That is about the only similarity this game shares to Marvel vs. Capcom. And for good or for ill, take it for what you will. But I know some people want this game to be Marvel vs. Capcom 4. It is not that. Once again, this game's a lot closer to Dragon Ball FighterZ 2 than anything else. And on that note, when it talks to versus games, So 2XKO, as of the time I'm making this video, soft launches tomorrow. So look forward for videos to that, right? And it's a big comparison point between Tokon and 2XKO. And now that we finally get to play some Tokon, they could not be more different games. Like, yes, the cosmetic similarity of they are both quote-unquote tag fighters, sure. Past that, they are completely different. Like, I don't feel like competitively these games are going to be competing for the same audience at all. Tokon and 2XKO, other than tag, share nothing in common. And even then, the tag, like, in comparison, you will barely ever tag out in Tokon compared to 2XKO. 2XKO, you will call assist and tag out and tag in and tag out and tag in and tag out all the time. Like, the game is fundamentally built around the fact you are consistently and constantly swapping your two characters. This game, one of the selling points, and it seems to be bared out a bit as we're playing the beta, is you rarely have to swap out, if ever, right? Like, you can mostly focus on the point character, as it were, and then just sort of go from there. As we get better, we'll switch out more, sure, but like, it's not going to be anywhere near close or comparable to how it is in 2XKO. Like, you just tag out so much more often. You definitely need to know both characters all the way through for that game, not the least of which is there's 2 life bars, right? You will be forced to play the other character unless you're using one of the 2 fuses. That makes it a solo experience, but whatever, right? But here, yeah, like, they're just so fundamentally different. Like, if you want to be flippant about it, Tokon has more in common with Mortal Kombat 1 than it does with 2XKO. Like, you know, it's 1v1 with cameos, right? Obviously, it's not quite the same, but that's just sort of like the differences I'm noting. So, I don't really see this as much of a war between Tokon versus 2XKO anymore than I see it like a war between like Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8. Like, they are just such different games other than a very similar cosmetic superficial level. But anyways, that said, so the core gameplay is fun. I'm a little iffy just like how much they really want to like curtail assists, or at least they seem scared of you using them. But I'm a big fan that seemingly everyone can do everything. The universal mechanics are very strong. Everyone has access to an overhead. Like, Miss Marvel has a big ignorant gorilla overhead that she gets a full combo from that's safe on block. The generic overhead is not necessarily as damaging. And also, I believe it is punishable on block, right? But at least everyone can do it, right? Some people will be better than other people at opening people up, but everyone's got the tools to open people up. Same thing here, you know, I mentioned in the previous video, I think zoning overall is very strong. Most of the characters have a pretty strong, like, range combat suite. And the fact that there is effectively a Dragon Ball Fighter Super Dash that's projectile invulnerable, that helps people get in. It's actually one of the few things I kind of forgot to use in a lot of my matches, just because, you know, new mechanic, one day to play, don't really think about it too much. But the fact that it's there, so zoning will never reach injustice levels, no matter how bad things get, because for the cost of one of your assist bars, you can always just super dash in and be projectile invulnerable. That's good. There's the universal wake up mechanic, like the dodge, and if they hit you, so it's like a kind of like a counter attack, if you will. And that also will beat throws. So it's just a universal, like, they have to stop pressuring you for a second to see if you did it or not. AKA something they actually have to respect. So everyone has a defensive tool, you know. In a lot of fighting games, it's a very bad feel when you play a character that has no defensive tools. So when it comes to like the more generic aspects of playing the game, I'm very happy to decide to make sure that people can have the basic tools at least. Obviously, you know, certain characters can fly, certain characters have long range, like everyone have character specific traits, but like the bare minimum to play the game, everyone can do that. And I think that's really strong and will work in the game's favor. Just some characters will have better than the generic tools, you know, like Storm gets the short hop, Miss Marvel gets the overhead, so they don't necessarily need the generic overhead. I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure Captain America's EX Rising Shield is frame 1 invulnerable, as when he wakes up with it, it does state reversal. If it's not invincible, then I don't know why it says that. And you can also do, you know, level 3, I guess, as an invincible wake up. So, like, some characters have other options. But yeah, I'm just happy the general suite is good. It's always just bad feels when certain characters can't play the game the same way other characters can. But then again, I'm also glad that these mechanics, while very useful to give everyone kind of the basic tool set, don't necessarily overwhelm the game. Not any one of them I feel is too powerful. It's not like a drive rush, if you will, right? Where it like defines what the game is, like Street Fighter 6. Because I want the characters to have some flair and some expression for themselves, and we're seemingly getting it, right? Everyone's got their greasy grimy tricks that we've been learning, as we talked about at the beginning of the video. And I'm sure once the game comes out, it's going to get just kind of broken wide open. So I like the characters to speak for themselves a bit more and less of the generic stuff. But just everyone can play the game. I just want to really stress that. Everyone can play the game at a minimum, and I'm happy for that. And the last thing I want to talk about is just aesthetic and vibe. So I'm a longtime comic fan, you know, and hey, like I like the movies and all that kind of stuff, but like I've been a comic fan since the early 90s. And I like both DC and Marvel, by the way. When I was younger, I would say I liked Marvel more. These days, I like DC a lot more. But, you know, I'm a big fan of the properties, and it's specifically one thing I just want to highlight. So for DC, my favorite character is Superman. For Marvel, my favorite property is the Fantastic Four. And hey, Doctor Doom's in the game. So Doom's been in plenty of games before. That's not too rare. He's definitely not the most common character you're going to see, but like he's been in games before. But many games don't get the flavor of Doom right. They'll show a bunch of techno toys, but they never show the magic. And the magic is a big part of his moveset. Like rune shields when he blocks, his unique trait is another spell shield kind of deal. Like for Doom, the sorcery is as important of a deal as the science is. And I'm very happy to see game finally pay respect to that. And the fact that he kind of just seamlessly blends both of them. So he can have like, you know, big magical sword attack like you're seeing with his hit grab, and then immediately shoot science beams or bust out a gun or something. Like it's a perfect blend of the two, which is how it should be. So on top of the look, I think his look's $1 million. So I'm just, as a big time Fantastic Four fan, I'm just very happy with Doom being represented very well here. Of course, I do hope for, you know, more Fantastic Four reps. I want the Fantastic Four in the game. How do you do a 4v4 game and not have the Fantastic Four? I'm going to keep saying that till the game comes out. And then when it doesn't happen, it's going to drive me nuts. And I'm going to argue for them for DLC. But till that day anyways, Fantastic Four should be in the game. Like, anyways, Doom's mastery of magic is a big deal. I'm happy it's there. Like, one of the best arcs he ever did was when Sue was pregnant with Valeria. There was issues. Reed, smartest guy in Marvel, right? He couldn't figure it out. Goes to Doom, and Doom uses magic to fix the pregnancy. And Reed doesn't believe in magic, so he can't figure it out, right? And Doom gets to name the baby Valeria, because he's a big jerk like that. That's his reward. Like, the other characters are well done here. Like, I have no problem with that. They're good. They're good. But Doom rarely is done right to me as a Fantastic Four and Doom fan, right? So just seeing him here, it's like his best video game appearance ever to me. So I'm just very happy. It's just something I wanted to bring up. I am of the belief, actually, that Doom is Marvel's single best character. But we could have a whole comic talk another day. I don't know. But yeah, so that's just a bunch of different thoughts about the game as a whole. Just following up from the first video we had. Definitely wish we had more time with the beta. There's so many things I want to try now that I sort of have an understanding of. I sort of have a grasp of. And once again, we're going to have to wait like 3 to 6 months to try the game again. And it's not like there's going to be another beta next week or nothing, right? So we're going to be waiting a hot minute to get anything else going on here. I certainly hope there's another beta before launch. I actually thought like, oh man, it'd be so great to get the PC people in here. But then I realized, oh no, we can't do that. You know, we know how it happens every single time we have a PC beta, right? Every single time we have a PC beta, it either gets cracked or there's leaks or there's both. So that's a very strong incentive against PC betas. And now that Sony is the publisher of the game, you know, they want to focus on this whole PlayStation thing. I think, unfortunately, PC fans might have to wait till launch day to play the game. Would love to be wrong, because, you know, if we're wrong, that means we'll have the PC beta, and then I'll get to make the video of what leaked from the PC beta the next day. That's always good for views. I don't know, we're going to be a while yet. It does launch next year. I don't know, but I'm thinking it'll be out before EVO next year. I know Sony recently divested themselves from EVO, but, you know, plans for release is usually set in stone for a while beforehand. And this game's also been in development for a lot longer than most people think. Tokyo Game Show is around the corner. As my understanding, Tokon will be there in some form. So it'd be nice to get like a character reveal. Like I feel like it's about time we start getting the marketing engine going on that stuff, right? I don't know what the end roster will be. I'm assuming 18 to 22 characters. That seems about right. So, you know, a slow drip of character reveals, I feel we're sort of due. And Tokyo Game Show is going to be a big deal already. We already know another Virtual Fighter reveal is going to be on site. And also Sea Viper for Street Fighter 6 will be playable on site. So at a minimum, there'll be a lot of footage of that. And I'm expecting a gameplay trailer for her as well from Tokyo Game Show. And plus, who knows what else? There could be a lot more going on as well. Tokyo Game Show is definitely the next big shop for the FGC in terms of like news, reveals, items, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, now we're getting a little rambly, so I think I'll close it up. Overall, I like Tokon. I'm looking forward to playing more. I had a lot of fun with the game. I had a good time with it. And I'm looking forward to the next time I can play it, which might be next year at this rate. I don't know. So we'll have 2XKO to help fill the void till then. But until such time as there's a reason to talk about Marvel Tokon again, well, I guess that's about it for the video. So, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some fighting games.